Hey everyone, Kevin here and welcome back to my channel. So today's topic, how long does it take to create training as an instructional designer? I get this question a lot with people moving into the industry to try and gauge how long they should be spending on their project or portfolio assignments. And well, the answer is kind of ill-defined because it's pretty complicated and depends on way more factors than most people ever actually consider. I mean, is it instructor-led training or is it e-learning? Does the training include animations and graphics or is it kind of more passive? Are there a lot of games in the course or are there mainly just short videos? How complex is the information going to be for the learner? Will you need to consult SMEs a lot or is the information provided straightforward? How many review cycles does your team go through? Do you need to create facilitator guides or other documents that go along with the training? Are those templates available or are you making things from scratch? Heck, are you using the ADDIE or SAM process? You get the idea. There's a lot of factors to consider, and all of these and more that I didn't even bring up play a significant role in determining how long a training is actually going to take to create. And one thing I wanted to dispel right away, though, is that whenever you Google or search for information on this topic, you'll often end up with the standard question, how long would 1 hour of training take to create? Which, though, yes, is a good place to start the conversation and is kind of an even number to think of. The problem is that no one sets out to create precisely 1 hour of learning. Now, you can certainly allot that amount of time, but unless it is for a specific 1 hour like onboarding program, you create whatever is required to solve the training problem. Often, you'll find that your courses will be anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes of e-learning, while ILTs will vary wildly depending on what you want to put in them. So that's why I don't really like the 1 hour equals however many minutes of development time standard, but it is a simplistic way of presenting the information, so I'll use a version of it here, but again, take that arbitrary time with a grain of salt. So now, with that being said, let me try and make it as simple as I can using that albeit imperfect metric. Keep in mind, these numbers will fluctuate from course to course, so they're just broad guesstimates. Most ILTs will take you upwards of 30 to 50 hours per hour of instructional time. So that means if they want you to create a day-long ILT encompassing 8 hours of learning, expect it to take around 1 to 2 months to create that training. That may seem like a long time, but you'll quickly realize that it actually isn't at all. Just because something is a PowerPoint doesn't mean that it will be instantly easy and quick to create, especially considering most of those dang things are like 120 slides long. It might be less if you have great trainers helping you make it, SMEs who are really on the ball with getting you every single thing you may need, and if the content is relatively simple. It might be more time than that if the material is incredibly complicated. There are a lot of visuals that not only need to be included, but edited one by one. Company branding needs to be added in everywhere. Or if the training is just exceptionally long. This same logic applies to e learning too. You have to consider things like, are you creating something in Storyline or Rise? Are there scenarios to include? Are there a lot of interactives that the learner will need to click on, or is it mainly like a next button type course? The answers to those questions also will greatly impact development times. Typically, Rise has a far shorter development time since there are so many pre made blocks for you to use that often only need slight alterations to fit with the needs of the training and the company branding. As long as I have literally everything that I could possibly need, I could feasibly knock out a 30-minute Rise course in a few hours, or a longer one with a lot of scenarios within 2 days. But I'm just really fast with Rise. You may not be and take longer than that. For most of those courses, though, expect 30 minutes to take 3 to 3.5 days to complete, and that's pretty standard for most people I've found. Again, it may take longer if you don't have all the information you need. Oh, and those estimates don't even factor in review times, just development, so keep that in mind. With Storyline, that's a whole other beast. Expect at least double to triple the time than with Rise because of having to do everything from scratch, including all of the layers, states, and triggers that must work properly. I recently created a roughly 40-minute long Storyline course that required me to narrate every slide, show a large number of images, and have hotspot interactions everywhere. Some slides had multiple layers, most of the backgrounds Section headers and all the text fields and shapes required a lot of custom work. So, as you can imagine, that took a lot of time. One slide alone had like 35 triggers that took me a few hours to complete by itself. That training ended up probably taking me 2 solid weeks with another week and a half of reviews, and that was only because I had nothing else eating up my time alongside it. Had very responsive SMEs, and there was a massive push to get that one out on the door, so time was of the essence. For something like that, it probably would have taken me about twice that time if I was able to slow down and not be so relentless with the deadline. Now, these times will be radically different if you are working on multiple projects at once with different due dates and you aren't able to commit your entire focus to one course, which is often the case. Not many of us have the luxury of staying with one training the entire time it takes for us to complete it, and we pulled into another course along the way that needs to get finished. Or a SME gets back to you on a review for some other course that you made, and now you go action those things. Or you get asked to update existing training that is now out of date and it's causing an immediate problem and blocker for learners. That storyline course I mentioned wasn't even that dense. There was just a lot to do with what needed to be created. And even longer training, like an actual hour long one that includes more scenarios, assessments, or interactives, could take as long as 2 to 3 months to create. Again, depending on a wide array of factors. I haven't even mentioned the ADDIE versus SAM process thing either, because if you need to do a very formal analysis phase with needs assessments and storyboards, and you would need to take a much more formal ADDIE approach to do that, then good luck estimating the time. That alone can take weeks. If your team uses SAM, which I feel most people are moving toward actually, and I think for the better, you can just get to working on the prototype right away as long as you have what you need to do so, and reviews can fix things later. Put together, this is why people often struggle at first to create a portfolio or to really allot enough time to create something to either show in it or to prepare for how long you might spend on one particular training. ID is an inherently more creative field, and as a result, being more and more creative means it will take more and more time. There are a lot of factors to consider when estimating how long a training will take, so, as I said earlier, take these numbers I've given you with a grain of salt. 1 hour does not always equal the same amount of minutes to create. I mainly wanted to give you a taste of that time frame to make and consider how that will guide your course development moving forward. So keep that caveat in mind. Things are going to take different times depending on the training at hand. Okay, that was a bit of a dense and jargon-heavy topic to cover, and I barely even scratched the surface with it, but I hope that this at least gives you a rough idea of timelines for course creation and what to expect when you get hired as an ID. If you liked today's episode, please click like, subscribe, and ring the bell button to get notified whenever I post new content, and it also really helps the algorithm, so thanks in advance for doing that. But for now, I've been Kevin, and I will see you in the next video.